and received several accolades, including Outstanding Student Award and Distinguished Alumni Award. I am very proud to say that a resource person joined the Exeter Pre-Media Services as the COO, where she is currently spreading the transition of the company from a traditional service company to a world-class SaaS publishing platform company. And I'm very proud to say that Soumya ma'am successfully grew the Indian operations of and currently as a joint secretary of EWIT. On behalf of Sri Krishna Swami College for Women and on behalf of Women Empowerment Cell of Sri Krishna Swami College for Women, I'm very glad to welcome our resource person, Ms. Soumya ma'am, for this webinar. A warm welcome, ma'am. I also extend my warm welcome to my dear students and to my dear friends. You are the boon for this webinar. My hearty welcome to you all. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I request our resource person, Ms. Soumya Mahadevan, ma'am, to take over the session.
Thank you so much, Dhanalakshmi. I just want to, before we get started, just want to do a very quick check. Am I audible? Can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you, Dr. Gayatri, for that really warm welcome and that wonderful introduction. I am extremely delighted to be here. It's always very, very interesting talking to college students because there's a lot of new ideas that come out of colleges, that come out of young people. And it's very interesting. I always enjoy talking to college students. So I, first and foremost, would like to thank Sri Krishna Swami College for giving me this opportunity. I am the Chief Operating Officer for Exeter Pre-Media Services and also the Joint Secretary of EWIT. EWIT stands for Empowering Women in IT, and we are an organization that works towards, it's a voluntary organization, which works towards empowering women who work in IT companies. So first and foremost, thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here. So just some ground rules. I know this is a webinar, but I would really love to hear from the students. So as we are talking about entrepreneurship, which is a topic for today, please share your comments, your questions in the chat window, and I would make sure that I respond back to the comments. What does entrepreneurship mean to you? So let's hear it from some people. So what does it really mean to you? Come on, girls, type in the chat window. What does it mean to you? Dr. Gayatri, would people be able to type in the chat window? Let's hear it from some people now. Come on. What does entrepreneurship mean? So please type your questions, your answers in the chat window. So let me tell you, when you're in school, when you're in college, and people ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up? The typical answers are, hey, I would like to be a doctor, perhaps a teacher, or perhaps an engineer. So these are the typical things that it comes to our minds. I want to be this, I want to be that. And there's just like a lot of options in front of you, and very confused about what is the kind of career that I want to really get started for myself. But how about starting your own business? So in a nutshell, before I get started, I just wanted to kind of give you my background and how I became an entrepreneur. As Dr. Gayatri said, I did my Bachelor of Engineering from SVCE, from Sri Venkateshwara College of Engineering, that I completed in 1999. I really wanted to go and do my master's, a higher studies. And so I really worked hard for it and got a fully funded research assistantship. Got an opportunity to go and study master's at Carnegie Mellon University, which is one of the highest ranked university for electrical engineering. Then I started my career with a small startup in the US. And it just so happened that in 2006, I had to move back to India when I was working in the US. And I could have come back to India and I could have just, tried to find another job over here. But instead, I decided to go and approach my boss and I said, hey, how about we start an Indian operations for our startup? Rather than I going back and just trying to find another job, I'll help you set up the operations for the company in India. And that's what I did. So in 2006, I moved back to India, hired a few people, and started the Indian operations for the company, which was at that point called Tech Tools. And, we were kind of successful. We recruited about 10, 15 people, 20 people, and then grew the Indian operations, and it became quite successful and, doing a lot of the operations for the US company. And then the Indian operations got bought over by another company called SolarWinds. And all of a sudden, I had just grown from being a software engineer to having to run 100+ team, recruiting a lot of people, putting things in place, and, getting the whole team set up in India. So I became the director of the Indian operations for this company called SolarWinds. From then, that's how I kind of jumped into entrepreneurship, starting a venture, even though it was not entirely my venture. But I got the opportunity to establish a new venture, hiring new people, setting up the operations, making it successful, growing it. All of these were suddenly, some things that I was able to do. From then on, I moved to becoming the COO of Exeter Premedia, which is where I am right now. And Exeter Premedia, we run a document workflow management company. And I'm also the joint secretary of EBIT. So this is a little bit of a background about how I'm here talking to you about entrepreneurship. So let's go back to the original question that I asked. What does entrepreneurship mean to you? I'm just trying to see if I'm getting any comments back. So in my opinion, what does entrepreneurship mean to me? It's obviously to develop and grow a business venture. So you're creating a new business, you're hiring people, you're obviously in it for the profit. You are having an idea and taking it to fruition. So that's what entrepreneurship is all about. But it is also the willingness to take risks. Sometimes it may work, sometimes it may not work. Sometimes there may be a good idea that you have a fantastic idea, but you're not able to put it to execution. Sometimes, you may have all the right recipes, but the market is not ready for it yet. So there is this willingness to take risks, and you have to constantly innovate. What do I mean by innovation? It's to look at what's happening today and figuring out how to make it better. How do I make it better? Is it a new idea that I'm bringing into the business? Is it a new way of operations that I'm bringing into the business? Is it a new, HR policy that I'm bringing into the business? So there's a lot of constant innovation that is absolutely necessary. So in a nutshell, to me, what entrepreneurship means, it's the ability to develop and grow the business venture. It is a willingness to take risks. It is the mindset to say, I have to constantly innovate, I have to constantly improve, and constantly thinking about how do I make something better. That, in a nutshell, is what entrepreneurship is all about. So it's not just starting a business, sitting back and having a good time. That comes very much later. You talk to any entrepreneur, they will talk to you about all the struggles that they have gone through in order to make their enterprise really successful. Now, entrepreneurs come in all shapes and sizes. So when we talk about entrepreneurship, sometimes we immediately only think about some of these really, really big companies, really large companies like, say, Google or Facebook or Apple. But entrepreneurs in true nature come in all shapes and sizes. Just look around you. And especially in a country like India, there are entrepreneurs all around us, including the person who's running the grocery store near your house. He is an entrepreneur. He started the business. He's running the business. He's trying to think about how to innovate, how to keep it going, how to make things better. You have people who do small scale businesses from home, women who perhaps make some small eatables that they sell from their home, or small handicrafts. They are also entrepreneurs. Then you have these huge stalwarts who've created these billion-dollar companies, million-dollar companies, from Infosys with Wipro. They are also entrepreneurs. So entrepreneurs come in all shapes and sizes. So why are we here talking about entrepreneurship? Why all of a sudden, when you look around, you see a lot of conversation about entrepreneurship? Why all of a sudden? Right? So this is something that's started in the last 10 years. There's a lot of conversation. There's a lot of talk about entrepreneurship. So why all of this sudden focus? So for a country like India, entrepreneurship is the way to create new businesses where something wasn't existing before. You all of a sudden created new economic activity. You create more jobs rather than being a person who's seeking jobs. You now have a venture or a business that is offering jobs to other people. You create social change. There are a lot of entrepreneurs who have got the ability to bring about social change. I think you can safely say that a lot of our behavior has been altered after the entry of companies like Uber, companies like Swiggy, companies like Dunzo. They've created a social change. On the other side, you have companies that also are into sustainable businesses. I recently bought a unit that makes water from air. Now that's a company that is creating social change, that is creating an innovative idea. So there is a lot of this ability to create new businesses, to create more jobs, and to create social change. And that's why there's a lot of push from the government, from the heads of the country to take a very serious look at entrepreneurship and to promote this entrepreneurial feeling and this essence in everybody. Now, I would really like to see some participation. So I'm not sure if you guys are able to add comments and add any answers here. But let's look at some of the entrepreneurs in our own ecosystem, right? So in India, in Tamil Nadu, let us look at a few such people who have really created companies of value. And I'd like to hear from you guys, right? Who is this? Can you recognize this person? He was born in Tanjavur. The company that he built today creates products that directly compete with Microsoft and Google. What a proud moment for everybody who's from Tamil Nadu and who's from India, that we are directly competing. We have a company that directly competes with Microsoft and Google. Now, he studied in Tamil medium until 10th standard, and he runs a company that today employs 10,000 plus people. Any guesses on who this person is? Any guesses? Dhanalakshmi, is there a way where I can see the comments? I'm not sure if there are any answers coming in. Hi, Dhanalakshmi. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to see if there are any answers coming in. Are people able to see and type back in the chat? Because I can't hear anybody.
Yes, ma'am. They can reply in the chat box, ma'am.
Does anybody know who I'm talking about? Who is this? Or can you name the company that I'm talking about here? Right. So this is Sridhar Vembu, who runs Zoho Corporation. I'm sure all of you must have heard about Zoho, which is one of the largest SaaS product companies from India. And they have done phenomenally well. They've done it's a phenomenal company, which has also spawned a lot of other companies in Tamil Nadu and in India, building products, building SaaS products. Let's take a look at another person. Now, who is this? See if you can identify who this person is. Now, here he is also a college dropout, so he didn't complete his college. He started off as a son of a grocery shop owner. He started his business first making ice creams. And today, he runs India's largest private dairy company that makes all milk and milk products. Who is this person? I'll give you a minute to try and think about it, or try to think about what is the name of the company that I'm talking about as well. This is Mr. R.C. Chandramogan, and who runs Hats and Agro. So let's take a look at another person. And as you can probably see, I'm picking people who are from our own backyard, from Tamil Nadu, from people who are probably just like you and me, and who have grown up in not in very privileged environments, but who've kind of really built a strong company. Who is this person? He was born in Kadalur. He studied again in Tamil medium. He was very innovative in that he was the first company or one of the initial companies that started making shampoo in small packets. And today he runs 1,000 crore company today. That's a phenomenal growth. And personally, having interacted with him, his sense of innovation is just phenomenal. Who am I talking about here? This is CK Ranganathan, who runs Kevin Care. I'm sure all of you recognize the products, and I probably have used products like Mira Herbal and Indica and Chick Shampoo and all of that. So he pioneered the sachet that we all take for granted today. Now, who is this person? He is the son of a daily wage earner. He failed his sixth standard. So his sixth standard he didn't pass, and he was, quite dejected at that particular point of time. And today he runs 1,000 crore company selling idli and dosa batter. Who am I talking about here? This is PC Mustafa and runs ID Fresh Foods. So why am I just wanted to take some time to talk a little bit about some of these people and to show you and to tell you the stories of some of these entrepreneurs, simply because as you can see from their personal backgrounds, there is nothing stellar, right? There's nothing, of course, there's a lot of companies, the large companies that have been in the business, and there are like generations and generations of entrepreneurs. But there have also been a lot of very interesting first-time entrepreneurs who have made it extremely big, all because they were armed with an innovative idea. But more importantly, they were armed with the can-do spirit. Okay, I really want to get it done. I really want to succeed. That spirit has really skyrocketed a lot of these people into this realm of success. And I just wanted to share some of these stories with you. Now, we are talking about women entrepreneurs. So I wanted to also pick out and share some of the stories of women entrepreneurs. And again, the people that I am going to talk about today are people that you may have met. They are not very different from each and every one of us. So they're not, running really large companies. They've started small, but they have grown very big. She is Miss Sri Vidya. She runs Ravindra Services, which is a 22 crore business with employing about 4,000 people. Now, her personal life story is extremely inspirational. She was married and divorced at a very young age and went through a lot of problems in her personal life. But she was refused shelter by her parents and started off by living in a very small house in a slum area. Now, from there, just because of her perseverance, today she runs a security business supplying manpower services to several large companies, and running this company called Ravindra Services, which is a 22 crore business and employing 4,000 people. From where to where she has been skyrocketed. She has gone from not really having a great place to live to today providing business opportunities and providing employment opportunities for more than 4,000 people. That's the power of being an entrepreneur. Again, a very smart girl, Archana's talent, and very interesting to see the kind of problems that she's trying to solve. She runs this company called My Harvest Farms, and together she's building today a strong community of farmers trying to bring organic produce to the cities and to make sure that people appreciate where our organic products are coming from. And a very inspirational lady for having jumped into an area that not a lot of people really try to go into. So she's today spearheading a lot of very interesting initiatives in the organic produce space. Sneha Priya, again, very smart girl. I've had the opportunity to talk to her and interact with her. And very interesting. She started her company in the third year of her engineering. So she was very passionate about building robots. And together with some friends of hers, they started this company called SP Robotic, teaching other people how to do robots. So that's where she started off. She started off in her third year of engineering and said, hey, you know what? I really enjoy working with robots. I love how to build them. Let me go ahead and teach other people how to do the same thing. And that's really how her company actually came about. And today they are, really on the growth path. They have a lot of online courses for children. They have, in-person courses for children. teaching people all about robotics. So she has taken a passion that's driven her, that she was herself passionate about, and then made that into a company. And today they're going really strong, SP Robotic Works. Mrs. Sharda Romney, being a member of EWIT, I really needed to talk about her. Now, she was a housewife. And when her daughter was about 12 years old, she decided, hey, you know what, I'm done being just a housewife. I really want to do something on my own. And she learned programming just 2 years. And then within 2 years, she started her own company. She didn't have a background in programming. And she started her company in just 2 years. She's also the founding member and advisor of EWIT, which is who I'm representing today. A very inspirational person, very down-to-earth person, very approachable person. But again, when you look back and see the kind of growth that she's had, you can imagine that it's all coming only because there is passion that is driving, coupled with a lot of hard work. And again, I wanted to share some of these stories with you guys because I think it is very important to not see entrepreneurship as some big thing that, that is very far away from us. There have been a lot of very successful entrepreneurs who have started out just like any other person, but with a passion driving them, with a hard work driving them, and with, kind of really putting their head together into this. They have created such successful ventures that it is very inspirational to kind of look up at them. So now that I've talked to you about some of these entrepreneurs, told you the stories of some of these people, and let's say you guys have a wonderful idea. Where do you go if you really have a superb idea and what you want to do, and what do you do if you want to start up in Tamil Nadu? Again, like I said, of all, in the last 3-4 years, there's been such a push for startups and for entrepreneurship in the whole of India, but especially in Tamil Nadu as well. Tamil Nadu is wanting to be the leading destination for startups. So you can see and hear a lot about government-supported initiatives that is pushing for startups, that is pushing for entrepreneurship. The state organizes hackathons, boot camps, and other events. Entrepreneurship Development Institute, that focus, EDII, focused on implementing the startup policy. So they've written out a startup policy that is going to be focused on empowering people, on encouraging people to take up entrepreneurship and to create new businesses. The EDII has formed TANSIM to implement policies to promote startups. So today, more than ever, if there is a good idea, there is a strong idea, there is a lot of avenues, there are a lot of places where you can go to get the support that you need to actually establish the business. So some of the resources that you can go to learn about how to start up what it really means to actually start up a business, that's startupindia.gov.in, which is the Government of India's flagship initiative to promote entrepreneurship. The EDITN.in, which is the Entrepreneurship and Development Institute, primarily in Tamil Nadu. And if you go to these resources, there's a lot of courses on entrepreneurship. There's a lot of resources that are available, events that are being held on entrepreneurship. So more than ever, it's a great time to actually start thinking about what is entrepreneurship and to look out for it. Specifically for women entrepreneurs, again, there is a lot of support that is provided both from the government and from other institutes. There are training and sensitization programs for women entrepreneurs, and startups that have women founders they have eligibility to receive support for product development, marketing, participating in fairs and exhibitions. And there's a lot of other organizations that are conducting women-specific, focused programs for women entrepreneurs. If women are leading a particular organization, they're starting up an organization, allotment of industrial plots, that becomes easy. They're given more priority. There is a lot of support for women entrepreneurs to set up incubators. Again, like I said, that I think it's great that there is a lot of institutional support for women entrepreneurs as well. So this is a great time to actually make use of such support that is actually coming out. Now, let us actually step back, right? So now that I've given you a little bit of a story about, shown you some of the entrepreneurs that I've personally met and interacted with, and we've talked about, some of the resources that are available, let us actually step back and see, how do you recognize who's an entrepreneur? Or if you want to just say, hey, you know what, am I an entrepreneur? Do I have it in me? Let us talk about who is actually an entrepreneur. You can identify entrepreneurs because they're really passionate about what they do. What do I mean by passion? Passion is actually the thing that does not allow you to sleep at night. right? So it's the one that keeps you awake, that kind of pushes you to doing more and more. And you're driven because when you are starting up a company, when you're running your company, there could be a lot of times when things don't really go well. And it's really the drive, the fire that you have that keeps you going. So if when you come across and you interact with some entrepreneurs, you can really see that they are extremely passionate about what they do. They're motivated about what they do. And I think I've shared some of the examples, some of the people. I would encourage you to go read up about more entrepreneurs, because you can really see that the I can't is not at all there in their vocabulary, right? So it's really about, hey, how do I solve a problem? How do I solve this problem? How do I go and solve the next problem? It may be a very difficult problem, but let me break it down and actually go ahead and solve it. There is a lot of motivation about what they do. They are extremely motivated. But that motivation is also coupled by the perseverance, willingness to work hard. In the initial days of any company that is getting started up, if you talk to any entrepreneur, you can see that it is a lot of hard work. The long nights, you give up your weekends, you have to work on a lot of things. There could be a ton of things that are coming at you from different directions, but there is this perseverance. There is a willingness to work hard because you are driven by what I spoke earlier. There is a passion, there is the motivation to work hard, and that automatically translates into a willingness to actually even work hard. This is a wonderful quote by Steve Jobs. He says, I'm convinced that about half of what separates the successful entrepreneurs from the non-successful ones is pure perseverance. You have to keep trying. Things may not go well, but that's really what separates the ones who make it from the ones who don't. And I fully agree with this particular quote. The other aspect of an entrepreneur is that you have to have a lot of skills. Now, any successful entrepreneur should be a salesperson, should be a marketing person, should know how to run the product strategy, may need to actually step in and do some of the operations, may need to be on a technical call with the customer, may support call with the customer. So they're actually got a lot of skills. You don't have to be the best at those skills, and that's where you hire more people. But you should know, you have to be versatile and learn. And you have to be this constant learner. If you don't know, today I may not know anything about selling, but if I don't know how to sell, I'm not going to be a successful entrepreneur. So you have to go and fill in that gap. I may not know how to be a great marketer. I may not know how to write, but that's okay. But I'm going to go learn that skill in order to become a successful entrepreneur. So a successful entrepreneur has to be versatile and have many skills. Excellent salesmanship and confident in their product or service. Again, I spoke about it. The person, a great entrepreneur is actually the forefront who's going out and selling, who is so confident in their product and service, is able to convince people to come buy their services, to buy their product, and has this excellent salesmanship. That actually comes from this conviction that you have about what you're doing, right? So if you're so convinced that what I'm doing, what the product that I'm selling or the service that I'm selling is excellent, and it is actually going to solve the value, is providing value to my end customer, you automatically are confident in the product or the service that you're trying to offer. Constantly learning. Who is a successful entrepreneur? Again, like I said, you have to be this knowledge seeker. You have to constantly learn because there is just so much to be learned, first of all. And so you will see a lot of successful entrepreneurs being very humble simply because they know that there is just so much more that they need to learn. It's only when you kind of constantly keep challenging yourself that you grow as a business. You grow as a person, and then the business grows along with you. So this need for trying to learn, and I don't mean that you have to keep going and getting additional degrees, but this constant ability to kind of keep learning, to look for new things, to observe other companies and see how others are doing things, and how do I bring in some best practices back into my business. This is a trait that you will automatically see in a lot of the entrepreneurs. And not afraid to fail. I mean, this is extremely important. If you're constantly worried about failure, you're not trying to take any chances at all. You don't try. You have to be saying, you have to have the ability to say, it's okay if it fails. It's okay if things go wrong. I'm going to learn from that mistakes and then move ahead. So this sort of a quality of not being afraid to fail is really, really important. It's a very important quality that entrepreneurs need to have. If you fail, never give up, because fail means first attempt in learning. This is a famous quote, again, by a very famous person. I'll give you a moment to try and guess who this person you think is. Let's see if we get any answers. This is a quote by Abdul Kalam, and it is so true, because if you fail, you should never give up, because fail simply means it's the first attempt in learning. And I think that's a powerful, powerful statement. Because if you don't try doing something, you're not gaining experience. And it's okay if something doesn't work the very first attempt. It's just a way for you to learn. Again, another important aspect to be a very successful entrepreneur is that you have to network. Network, network, and network. Meet people, talk to people, try and understand what others are doing, try and make the connections. And the connections that you make today may come, like, 5 years later. They may come, they may be helpful to you 5 years later, 10 years later, it doesn't matter. But the number of people that you meet, the number of people that you network. And I want to take a moment to talk a little bit about this, especially from women's standpoint. I don't think we women are not great networkers. We don't try to connect with people. We are a little shy in general, not wanting to talk to others. But this is something that all of us as women have to get out of and try to, make a conscious effort to go and network with other people, join organizations. So when you graduate, join an organization like EBIT. Try to attend other seminars and webinars and try to meet people, because that's a great way, again, for you to get new ideas, for you to meet new people, for you to figure out what others are doing and how you can learn from that and enhance yourself. So I've talked about all of this. We talked about entrepreneurs, and I don't know if any of you already have great ideas that you're wanting to start a company. Now you're probably today thinking, I'm still in college. What can I do today? There's a lot that you can do today to develop that entrepreneurial spirit, which is what I've been talking about so far. So what are some of the things that you can still do while continuing to be in college? Aim high. What do I mean by this? Don't set low goals for you. And I'm not talking about just getting high marks. I mean, of course, that's something that you can also do. But try to reach out for a lot of opportunities. Don't settle. Try to say, hey, this year I'm going to participate in so many different competitions. I want to participate in hackathons. I'm going to learn how to speak very well. I'm going to learn how to be a great marketer. So aim high. Set yourself very high goals. There is a lovely Tirukural that I just completely enjoy, and I think I really look up to it. It goes, Vellat Tanayadu Malar Neetam, Mandartham, Ullat Tanayadu Uyarvu. What it really means is, have you all observed a lotus flower, a lotus stem? If you observe a lotus plant, the length of the stem of the lotus plant is equal to the depth of the water. The deeper the water, the stem, grows more, because always the lotus is on the top of the water, right? So the higher the water, the depth of the water, the longer is the stem. Likewise, if you set your goals higher, your abilities also grow like that lotus stem. You don't know your own potential until you set, really high goals for yourself. It's okay if you don't reach them, but the whole aspect of trying to reach high goals will make sure that you are pushing yourself. Do new things. Now, again, a very wonderful quote that I really love. Growth begins at the end of your comfort zone. If you're really comfortable coming into college every day, doing your regular things, going back and perhaps doing a couple of your hobbies, you're really not learning. Because it's only when you have that, I'm not very comfortable doing what I'm doing, is when you're actually growing as an individual. So do new things, volunteer. There may be, I went to your college website. There are a ton of opportunities that the college is providing you to learn something new, to volunteer and to meet new people. Because any time that you are in a position where you're feeling like, okay, what am I doing here, is actually a great experience, because you're learning something new. Perhaps you're learning how to talk in front of people. Perhaps you're learning how to, network with different people. Perhaps you're learning a new skill. But whatever it is, it's only when you are in that discomfort, in your, not doing the same old something that you're very comfortable doing, you're growing as a person. Make books your friends and read constantly. This is again something that I really wished I did a lot more when I was younger. There are a lot of extremely good books, and by reading constantly, by picking up this habit of reading, you are enhancing your own horizons. You're able to look at all the various different possibilities, and this again helps you grow as a multidimensional personality. Motivation is what gets you started, but habit is what keeps you going. There's a wonderful book that I've read recently, and I really I wished I'd read it when I was much younger. It's called Tiny Habits, and I would really recommend all of you to pick up this book and read it. It's, you can talk about motivation, but it is really your personality is what you're doing every day, day in and day out. And as you're, especially as you're growing in your career or becoming an entrepreneur and starting a business, you really realize that it's the good habits that you pick up, whether it is being on time, whether it is answering your emails correctly. These are the good habits that differentiate you as a personality. So identify and pick up good habits. So these are great things that you can practice right now as you're in college. Again, my recommendation is to pick up this book, Tiny Habits, give it a read, and pick up these nice good habits that you're able to repeat on a day in and day out basis. Again, identify good habits, never let them go, learn how to hold on to them. This is a wonderful quote that again I love from Bharatiyar. எண்ணிய முடிதல் வேண்டும், நல்லவே எண்ணல் வேண்டும், திண்ணிய நெஞ்சம் வேண்டும், தெளிந்த நல்லறிவு வேண்டும். This is what Bharatiyar said, and take inspiration from these 4 lines and go forth in your world. I mean, the possibilities are limitless in front of you, and I wish you all the very best. If there are any questions, I'm happy to take them. Over to you, Dr. Gayatri.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was really a fruitful and eye-opening session to all of us. I'm sure your words will definitely help us to build our career successfully. Now I request Ms. P. Amuda, Head of the Department Computer Application, to propose the vote of thanks.
Girls, students, if you have any queries, you may post in your chat box, ma, regarding the entrepreneurship or how to do the entrepreneurship or anything, any queries regarding the thing, you are free to post your questions on the chat box. And Ms. Dhanlakshmi will convey the questions to the guest. The questionnaire session, ma, please post your questions if you have any queries. No queries, ma? Any query from PG students? Nisha from 3rd BSc Computer Science, you have any queries, ma, and you may post in your chat box, right? Okay, girls, thank you. Now, I request Ms. P. Amuda, Head, Department of Computer Applications, Sri Krishna Swami College for Women, to propose a vote of thanks. Thank you, ma'am.
I think there is one question from Sakshi. What is hackathon? Let me just answer. Sakshi, thanks for asking that question. Um, yeah, so thank you for asking that question. So hackathon is actually what is conducted as a 1 day or a 2 day event where participants are given uh, a problem statement, and it's usually it started off with programming, right? So if you're a computer programmer, there are teams that come together and they're given a small let's say a topic, say build an application that does helps with blood donation or something like that. So they come up with an idea, they implement a prototype, and they show it. This is a competition where they show the idea, and the best idea wins. So it's not about having a full fledged product as such, but it's about showing an idea. Now, hackathon was originally just started off with for programming specifically, but of late there are a lot of other types of hackathons where it could be on marketing, for instance, where you're just coming together as a team, trying to put an idea together and you're presenting it. So look up. I'm sure there's a lot of other colleges that do hackathons. See if you're able to participate in other hackathons, and especially if you're a computer science student, you can look at it. But even otherwise, right? If you're in marketing or if you're trying to do something else, it's about how do you present an innovative idea to a panel of judges and convince them that your idea is really good. So that's what a hackathon is about. It's usually a 1 day, 2 day event. Thanks for that question. I think you can take over, Dhanalakshmi or Ms. Amada.
Thank you, ma'am. I request Ms. P. Amuda, HOD, Computer Application, to propose a vote of thanks.
Question. Hello, ma'am, one more question.
Yes, great question. In which way can a computer science student be an entrepreneur in field of IT? So entrepreneurship is not just limited to the field of IT, right? So don't think about being an entrepreneur only as if you need to create a program and be a computer programmer. It's really about figuring out how to solve problems. Okay, so if you are already a computer science student, my suggestion would be, to first of all try and participate in competitions. Try and first figure out if you love programming, if you like it, or if you're interested in, say, the product design, in coming up with new ideas. So you can always like pair up with people who are very good at programming and then try to put some things together. And being an entrepreneur starts with having some sort of an innovative idea, to figure out, okay, this is some idea that I have, and I gave a few resources that you can go to once you have an idea. But if you're just getting started, my recommendation would be to, for instance, go and participate in some of these competitions. Get familiar with what are some of these, because you hear about a lot of such new ideas coming out in hackathons. So just participate, even if it is just being a visitor for some of these hackathons. Go read up about what are some of the ideas that other colleges are coming up. So that would be my recommendation. So first kind of get yourself started there. Can you give an example for IT field? Are you talking about a new business, starting a new business in the IT field? Yeah. So, I mean, there are a lot of new companies that are coming about, that are trying to solve problems. I've heard about companies that are coming out with augmented reality, virtual reality. IoT is a hot topic, Internet of Things. There are a lot of companies that are coming out with that. But you don't even have to think about a very large technical problem. You can think about a day in and day out problem. Can you come out with an app, for instance? I mean, think about, I don't know how many of you here use Urban Company. Think about an app like that, right? So which is just really simplifying something that we're doing day in and day out, which is, trying to find a maid, trying to find a person who can come home and do, salon services. If you think about it, that is really not a deep technical problem, but it is more of uh, a, a problem that exists day in and day out, right? How to get an idea for doing a business? That's a great question. Unfortunately, if I could tell you that, hey, go to this particular website and you'll find a lot of ideas, that's not how things work. How to get an idea for doing business? You should really start by observing people and seeing if there is a problem area. Successful businesses are actually solving some pain point that a customer has, right? So it's about identifying that pain point. Just think about all the new companies. So one of the suggestions for you, I don't have your name, would be to go and read up a lot more. Read up about some of these new companies, some of these new business ideas that have come about, right? And it's all there in the public domain. So just get yourself more and more familiar. There are apps that have come. I mean, like, think about the apps that are being built doing education, teaching people how to do things. There are businesses that have come about that are providing some grocery store deliveries and things like that. So it's really about trying to understand if there is a problem, and try to understand if I have a solution, that I can offer a solution for the problem. But before you get too far ahead, my recommendation would be to actually do a lot of reading. Read the news. Read, there are businesses, there are websites for startups. Go and read and see if there are ideas that you are able to appreciate first. Start with that, and then as you start reading more and more, you will get your own idea and say, hey, how about we do this? For commerce students, absolutely. I mean, if no business runs without them taking care of their whole accounts and commerce. So this is a area which is impacting a lot of businesses. There is a lot of new companies that are coming about. We use an accounting software called Zero, which is a cloud-based accounting software. There are products that help with GST taxes, for instance. There could be products that are putting together some reports in the field. There could be a product that is providing marketplace where I can look for a good chartered accountant who is specialized in certain specific areas. So that you can take an existing solution. Like, say, if you are thinking about building an Uber for chartered accountants, or building an Uber for company secretary, where I would like to go with the top ranked person. That's an idea. That's, you're solving a particular problem. So it's really about observing what is happening, trying to see if there is a pain point, talking to people, and then seeing, hey, if can I offer a solution that is going to solve a particular pain point. Okay. Good. Thanks. Wonderful questions. Thanks a lot. A BBA student, uh, again, I mean, I don't have an idea off the top of my head, but there are a lot of very interesting, like, if you even look at the number of people that I gave as examples, like Archana Stalin is, for instance, providing organic produce to your home. There are people you can offer, gardening services for homes. And if I want to order somebody to come in and take a look at my garden, you could do that. So there are a lot of such different options. And BBA is all about, you're in the business of you're studying about how to do business administration. So I think you get an idea of all of the a lot of companies that have come out in the marketing space, helping you do better marketing, helping you keep track of where are you doing your social media posts and things like that as well. 10 more successful entrepreneurs. I think if you look at in the world, there are quite a lot of them. So Mark Zuckerberg and obviously Apple and Microsoft and all of those companies are successful entrepreneurs. So you can definitely go and Google it and you'll find the answers for that. Okay. How to become self-employed in hacking field? Honestly, I don't know much about hacking. I don't know if that is it's a way to actually become self-employed. But if you are interested in becoming a computer programmer and self-employed, there are a lot of marketplaces that are available, like say Upwork, freelancer.com, where you can offer your services, right? So you can become a self-employed, say a programmer, who people can outsource work to, and for an hourly rate and things like that. So there are websites where you can be a freelancer and uh, do offer your services, and that can be in any kind of a field. Like if you go to Upwork.com, that's a great way again to become a self-employed person, is to be participate in the gig economy. Websites like Upwork, freelancer.com, these are all places where you can say, hey, I see English students also. Let's say you want to be a copywriter, you want to be a copy editor, and you just want to do that part time. You can do that even as you're being a college student, and you can try and see, hey, do you like doing it? Do you like being a self-employed person?
So, good morning to all. Gratitude makes sense of our past, brings peace for today, and creates a vision for tomorrow. I consider it my foremost duty and great privilege to propose the vote of thanks on this wonderful occasion. On behalf of Sri Krishna Swami College for Women, Department of Computer Science and Application, convey my deep regards and hearty thanks to Ms. Soumya Mahadevan, Chief Operating Officer, Exeter Pre-Media Services, Chennai, for accepting our request. We immensely thank you, ma'am, for this wonderful and effective explanation. We are all inspired by your words, madam. I also wish to express my sincere thanks to our management for their unlimited support and encouragement for arranging such a wonderful webinar. I convey my special thanks to our beloved D, Dr. R. Revati, and our enthusiastic principal, Dr. R. Geeta Rani, who always encourage us to reach higher standards. Thank you, ma'ams, for all the moral support and guidance. My hearty thanks to our faculty members for their support, dedication, and teamwork. I also extend my thanks to our beloved student for being a patient audience. I once again thank you, our chief guest, management, the principal, staff, and the students for their august presence on this occasion. Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am.
Is that another question? I think Kavya, I think that's fabulous. I think beautician skills, there's a lot of demand. I think that's always going to be a growing demand. You can either participate, you can become a franchise owner. There's a lot of really good franchise business like say Naturals or Green Trends, where you can be an entrepreneur and also have the benefit of a brand where you are running your own business, but you're part of like this larger brand. And there's a lot of them in the beautician areas. And yeah, I think that's a great place for you to start, especially if that's your passion. Ultimately, I think being an entrepreneur, you have to love what you're doing, and you have to enjoy what you're doing, because at the end of the day, all of the hard work, it becomes fun. It gets translated into fun. So make sure that you don't become an entrepreneur for the sake of it, but because you really love doing what you're doing, and that's the reason why you have decided to start your own business. Okay, so I think I answered that question as well. I don't know if I missed any other question. Yeah.
Thank you for your wonderful session, and thank you very much, students, for your wonderful interaction. And thank you once again. Thank you all. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, wonderful audience. Enjoyed all the questions, and all the very best. And hope to see a lot of really great entrepreneurs coming out of this college. Thank you.